President and CEO of the Intermodal Association of North America. I'm here at the Surface Transportation Board today to offer IANA support for the maintenance of the exemption of Tassi-Cofsi, one of the issues that the board is addressing at their hearing.
Now that's an exemption from regulation, so
Correct,
that the
from
Surface
economic
Transportation Board does not regulate intermodal traffic at all.
That's correct. It's been regulated since been deregulated, since the 80s. And the current hearing is reviewing various exemptions, including intermodal.
Now, since the fact that they have the exemption means that the regulators at the STB will not take cases or complaints on intermodal rates or service, why is this good for the economy?
Intermodal is good for the economy in general. I don't necessarily think it has a direct relationship to whether or not the board will take or not take complaints about their rates. Intermodal, as you know, is claimed to be the panacea of our economic recovery. To some extent, I think it's true. We have increasing demands for freight capacity, and intermodal is stepping up and basically filling some of those voids based on the flexibility in service and in pricing that intermodal can offer as a result of the exemption.
Well, we also heard some shipper representatives today talk about the fact that rising rail freight rates are making trucks more competitive for longer distances. But is that really the case in intermodal traffic?
No, I think because of the highly competitive nature of intermodal, you're not going to see a lot of rate differentials that defer to one mode versus the other. The rates are driven by the service and the flexibility of both of the modes, as well as the combination of the service, whether it's an international or domestic movement.
And this year, it looks by some measures that intermodal could be the strongest year on record, could surpass the 2006 levels. What are you seeing on month to month so far?
Certainly, the 14.7% gain in 2010 is a good indicator of things to come, we hope. I have not seen first quarter statistics. Obviously, we're not through the first quarter, but if you believe the projections, we're on a trajectory to at least equal, if not exceed, the 2006 volumes.
Now, is that mainly going to be powered like it was last year by foreign trade and marine container movements, or is it that the growth this year will shift more toward domestic again?
I think certainly the domestic has and will remain strong, and it'll be basically a balancing between the international and the domestic, particularly if we see some momentum with this export initiative that the President has undertaken.
And what about equipment capacity? Last year there were reports from various sources, both on the marine container side and the domestic container side, that at times there just weren't enough boxes to move freight intermodally. What are you hearing from your members about lining up equipment in 2011?
I think the main cause of that was the shutdown of the factories where the equipment comes from based on the economic recession. And
the factories in China?
Correct. And it takes, depending on whose numbers you look at, lead times of 3 to 6 months to ramp back up to a level to produce. I know that there are a lot of containers and chassis on order. Deliveries are coming slowly but surely, and most of the major equipment providers, I believe, have accommodated for what had occurred last year, and we should have ample supply going into the peak periods this year.
So between the natural growth and the opening of new intermodal double-stack lanes that some of the railroads are developing and have opened, is this going to be a stellar year for the amount of freight that's handled in boxes, as well as the amount of boxes they carry?
I think you're seeing a different distribution patterns and different lanes emerging as some of these new corridors come online. So I'm not quite sure that you're going to see growth in all of the areas that you've mentioned. But I do think there will be a sustained percentage of growth in intermodal transportation, whether or not it's routing through one of the new corridors or whether it's going through more traditional lanes.